Our next stop is Montreal, and that is where the federal NDP is meeting to chart a new course after ripping up the supply and confidence deal with the Liberals and to lend support to a key by-election campaign that's happening in Montreal. The CBC's David Thurton is in the city outside the NDP campaign office in that by-election riding, and he joins me now. So David, how are the NDP feeling about their chances in that Montreal by-election?
Actually, inside the campaign office, we're in the heat of a campaign that is in its last couple of days. They are down to the wire. I'm just going to show you what a campaign office looks like. I mean, maybe it's nothing, maybe it's something, maybe it's interesting, but you know, there's a bit of a hive, there's a bit of a buzz going on here. You can see some volunteers here with some clipboards. They're going to be going out doing some door-to-door knocking, I'd imagine soon. Over there, you could see, you know, a lone person making a phone call. But there's some other places that people could be making a phone call. And there's a bunch of people behind me doing who knows what, David, but they look busy. This is a couple more days, only a couple more days until that by-election happens here in this Montreal riding of LaSalle, Verdun, Aymard, and also the other by-election that's happening in Winnipeg in Elmwood, Transcona. I've been speaking with party officials, I've been speaking with MPs, I've been speaking with the NDP candidate, and the feeling is, you know, quite optimistic. They are quite hopeful that they can better their chances than they did in previous elections in this Montreal riding. They came in third behind the Bloc Québécois. One party official told me, David, that if they come in second, that would be, you know, something that they'd be pleased with. But there is some hope that they could maybe pull off some sort of upset. This riding is currently held by the Liberals, formerly by David Lemeny. The Liberal candidate Laura Palestini is, like Craig Sauvé, also a Montreal City Councillor. You know, there's some name recognition there, but the parties are very confident that Craig Sauvé has a bit more name recognition, and that could make this riding quite competitive for them. They're not ready to say that they're going to take it, but they are quite optimistic. On that other by-election that's happening in Winnipeg that I was mentioning, there's a bit more caution when it comes to how the party feels that they're going to do. In this riding, they're on the offensive, but in that Winnipeg riding, David, they're on the defensive. They hold that seat right now, and they are not, they're quite open. They're saying that this is a battle between blue and orange voters, that this riding has been previously held by the Conservatives, and although it has been within the NDP family for a number of years, there is a bit of a fear and there's a bit of a concern that, you know, the results, you know, could be quite tough on Monday night. But they're still quite optimistic on how things are going to go there. So in a couple of moments, a couple of members of the NDP caucus and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh are going to be in this campaign office, going door to door, trying to pull the vote for their candidate Craig Sauvé, trying to lend some NDP star power to help, hopefully they hope, tip things in their favor, David.
Okay, so look, David, they're not just there to campaign. The caucus is also there for their strategy meetings ahead of the resumption of Parliament on Monday. Well, what's on the agenda at these meetings?
Yeah, no, that's, you know, they're also, like you said, they're holding this retreat in Montreal. They're behind closed doors for most of it, but you talk to officials, you talk to MPs, and they're, you know, they have to chart their way forward after they have ripped up the deal with the Liberals. So a lot of the time in this caucus meeting is going to be spent talking about how they handle the situation when Parliament returns. We know from the caucus chair and also Jagmeet Singh that they're going to be approaching every vote from this government on a vote-by-vote basis, on a case-by-case basis. So we were trying to get a sense from MPs and Jagmeet Singh, well, what are your guardrails? What's your red line? What's your priorities? What is your demand? They essentially said, you know, making sure that this government delivers for Canadians on affordable housing, the cost of living. If there are pieces of legislation or pieces of policy that don't reflect the real crisis that Canadians are facing, the NDP will not support that. They're also focused on election preparedness. We saw a lot of movements this week when it comes to that. Like the NDP election machinery was kicking into another gear. We saw the appointment of their campaign director. We also saw the party release a video. They're calling it an ad, which is, definitely has that campaign style sort of feel. So there is that feeling that they are, working hard to win these by-elections in Winnipeg and Montreal, but they're getting ready for a bigger campaign that can happen at any moment.
All right, David, thank you so much. That's the CBC's David Thurton in Montreal.